And now, here is Coretta McDonald, Member of Parliament and host of Advancing the Cause.
Well, good evening to you and welcome to another episode of Advancing the Cause. You know, it has been such a good week for most of us. Apart from all that is happening, good things have happened for us this week. And so we're all excited about that. But of course, we are staying focused and we are looking closely at what has been happening during last week and during some parts of this week. We are taking a close eye on it. Tonight's program, we are going to be talking about things irregular. Things irregular tonight. That's what we're talking about. And before I go there, let me say good night to all of my wonderful viewers who week after week after week, you keep watching this program and looking out anxiously for this program to be aired. I want to thank you for being there and thank you for sharing your views when you come on board Advancing the Cause. I want to remind you that every week on Advancing the Cause, we share nothing but the truth. We bring you all the events that are happening and we share with you our recommendations as well as continuing to highlight the plight of the poor and ordinary Guyanese citizens. But before I go any further, let me take time off to say to some wonderful people, happy birthday. I know today the leader of the opposition, the leader of the PNCR, Comrade Aubrey Norton, MP, he is celebrating a birthday. Sir, I want to wish you a happy birthday, and I trust that you are going to be chartering the new course that you're going to be chartering. As a matter of fact, it is going to bring you much success, and that you are not going to leave any stone unturned as leader of the opposition with the responsibility that has been trusted on you. Again, happy birthday to you, my dear. And to all the other persons who are celebrating birthdays today, I know we've got lots of 50s going out. And so to all those persons who would have celebrated their 50th birth anniversary and are about to celebrate their 50th, I want to wish you God's richest blessings. You know, 50 is half of a century and you still have a far way to go because, you know, if I take you back a little, the word of God says he has promised us 70. And if by virtue of strength, we can go on. And so that's a promise I want you to claim. So we're going to move on. We're going to go on to that 70. But for now, happy 50th birth anniversary to all those who would have celebrated their 50th birth anniversary. I know, of course, I don't want to get into trouble, but I'm just going to highlight one person here this evening, and that is Miss Dollis Johnson, head teacher way out there in Cariveton. Happy 50th birthday to you. And it's a whole year you have to celebrate. And to all of those who would have celebrated other birthdays, not 50, not 60, not 65, not 70, happy birthday to you as well. And then we want to extend best wishes to our 16,000 plus boys and girls who would have started the National Grade 6 assessment examinations today. Like I said in my post earlier last evening, I want to wish you every success. And we are depending on you. We know that we can depend on you to do a very, very good job at those examinations. You have been looking forward to the examinations and they're here now. Just behave as if it's a regular test you're doing in class. And to our dedicated teachers who have worked beyond the call of duty with those children to prepare them for examinations, we want to thank you so much. And to our parents and to our guardians and everyone else who were there with our pupils, we want to thank you for your contributions and for your continued contribution in the upbringing of these children and getting them ready for the other charters that they'll have to cross, or the other bridges that they'll have to cross, because grade 6 examinations is just one part of their moving up the ladder, and they still have much more to go when they get into secondary school. So I want to wish you again every success for tomorrow. Relax, just concentrate on what you're doing. Take time off to read your questions carefully. And for paper 1, look at your answers first and then select the best. In paper 2, read all your questions and then select the ones that you can best answer. So good luck to all of our boys and girls. And we are looking forward to hearing those glorious remarks when the marking would have been completed. So we begin our program really tonight, and we're going to be looking at some highlights that have happened over the past couple of days. In the highlights, we've recognized that sugar is scarce in the market. Sugar that we produce right here, sugar that this installed regime would have invested billions and hundreds of billions of dollars into bringing sugar up again. That is now scarce here in Guyana. Could you imagine that? Sugar that we produce is scarce in the market. And when we talk about sugar, we talk about everything else. Tomatoes now is $500, $600 as a matter of fact, per pound. Tomatoes that we produce right here, $600 per pound. Plantain continues the prices continue to soar. The last time I checked, that I bought, I paid $260 per pound for plantain. And bora, 5 little bundles like this, $500. And when you finish with cutting that up, it would not be enough for 2 persons. And you can understand what happens when you have a family of 5 and 6 and 7 to take care of, to prepare for. This is what the poor and ordinary man in Guyana has got to face. And you know what? With all the prices that are skyrocketing, public servants' salary remains the same. How caring a government, how caring this installed regime that we have. And then we have the other one here, which is saying, installed Egil, you have a reason now to visit the mining town of Linden, because the people in Linden, they have experienced flooding in Amelia's ward, one that they've never experienced before. And we saw clips there of the post office, the entire surroundings of the post office flooded. And quite a lot of folks had to help pensioners, who were there to receive their pensions, had to help them out of there. The entire roadway and other areas were flooded. So Egil, you have reasons to go to the mining town at this time. And then on a happy note, we want to congratulate our athletes who performed extremely well in Suriname over the last weekend. You kept the golden arrowhead flying high, not like what is happening here right now with some of our institutions, but you have kept the golden arrowhead flying high. And so I want to shout out persons like Cleveland Ford and all the others, and to thank you for keeping the golden arrowhead flying high. And then we have the issue with Buxton. We saw just Monday, there was a big ministerial outreach in Buxton. And, that outreach there, I want to say, to our folks in Buxton, don't fall for hampers. Don't fall for some flimsy lights and welding machine and so on. These machines and the lights and everything else that they would have given you there, it's your taxpayers' dollars that would have been spent for it. So it's not a privilege. It's not something that they're giving to you. It is what they're supposed to do for you. So don't let's count that as a privilege, and don't be counted as one of those sets of people who are gloating over receiving hampers. We have seen what has happened in other villages, other areas, but in your area, we're seeing hampers. We're not seeing dollars and cents being given to you. And so on again with the highlights for this evening. And while I'm doing that, let me encourage you to share the live. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everybody else. Advancing the Cause is on, and they need to be tuned in. You need to be tuned in. Come on, if you don't tune in very quickly, then you're going to miss some of what we have to talk about this evening. So tell your friends again, tell your family, tune in to Advancing the Cause, and we're going to share with you lots of what is happening. So share the live, share the live, share the live. And then we go on again to some other issues. We have noticed in the news that a serving member of the Ghana Defense Force was yesterday remanded to prison for the murder of a 29-year-old hairdresser, Miss Park, from number 2 village, Kanji. This is so very sad. And it's something that we really have to have a conversation, a wider conversation on, because we continue to lose too many of our women folk. Too many of our women folk we are losing, to whether it's domestic violence, abuse, whatever it is, but we are losing too many of them. And at 29 years old with a minor, this is so sad. Who's left to grow up without a mother? This is so very sad. And then if that wasn't bad enough, we have one person seriously injured after a squad vehicle. The police who belong to the squad section of the Ghana Police Force, they crashed into a Voxy, I think it is, head on the east bank of Demerara. And so while we're asking other road users, other drivers to be very cautious in your operations as you drive the road, here is it. The police, the Ghana Police Forces members who are supposed to protect and serve, and they're supposed to uphold the law, they're the ones who keep breaking the law. They're the ones speeding down the road. And, I think it's saying to us that the people who are saying to you that you should be doing this, they're the ones who are not doing it. And it's so sad that we are sometimes breaking the rules that we set for ourselves. So I would want to wish the young man who's been injured speedy recovery, and I trust that one of these days, all those who recklessly drive the road, especially members of the Ghana Police Force and the Ghana Defense Force, and those who drive those public vehicles that taxpayers' dollars are being paid for, that you are going to be made to repay those monies. You're going to be made to repay for the damages that you've caused. And so those in Georgetown, those in Berbice, those in Region 9, those in Region 7, our police officers, we're cautioning you. Let me caution you tonight to be very careful when you're driving vehicles that taxpayers have paid for. Take your time, be cautious on the road, and let's be careful with lives, because when you drive the road, it's not only your life you're saving, but you're saving the lives of other persons. And so, yes, things irregular. To our usual suspects, good night to you. We have all of them there. I'm not going to go into calling names as yet, but we'll call the names just a little bit more. We're going to call the names so that you recognize that we're seeing you, and we want to hit you up because you're always there with us. And so things in a regular. What is happening here with us? Come on, share the live. I think the operator has one of the videos there that we would want you to look at, and we would want to look at the one that speaks to the installed president who was then there. He was not the president as yet, but we want to look at this video to show him there and the performance there with him. If we don't have that one, then we can show the other one where we had the police officers there. I think that might be the very one. We're going to take a look at this one, because we often talk about protest action and what is wrong and what is not wrong, and there are certain actions that nobody in the installed regime would have commented on, would have condemned for what was done. Rather, we saw them going out there to give some sort of support to that. And I want to say, when things are wrong, they are wrong, regardless of whether they're your supporters or not. When things are wrong, they are wrong. I'm not sure what is happening. But in the yes, could we put on that one so that
Okay, reverse. Something again. Yeah, the yeah. Forward.
What's the man do to police, boy?
Turn back. I kill him for them. Turn back. Turn back. You go behind this boy, say. Go behind this boy, say. And them fucking man, they get break by. So try me.
Hi.
Hi.
It's so great to be here.
You look fantastic.
Fantastic.
Oh,
Thank
Really
you.
fantastic. Come on, who are you?
We're the Curtis family C Notes.
And where are you from?
We're from San Francisco.
Okay.
right.
And do you like the same
We've had
kind
that
of
one
music?
there, operator.
Yes, sir.
And yes, this was one of the protest
Okay.
actions
Alright.
that we
Tell me
had
something interesting
on the
about
west
the
coast
kid's
of Berbice
personalities.
when
Well, you know, it's
police
interesting. Phoenix,
officers
she
were
loves
assaulted. They were charged at by residents. Police officers had to be running helter skelter for their lives. And you know, when we thought this one did not get the full condemnation that it ought to have had. When citizens are firing at police officers, not with guns, but with cutlasses and sticks and bricks and bottles, we didn't hear anything about that. But then when we had the protest just the other day, you heard all the talks, everything. It is just crazy. But as we continue the program, we're going to zero in tonight on this whole issue of the Quindon Bacchus' murder. And this is murder. This is cold-blooded murder. This is murder. We cannot say anything else, because here is it, a young man would have received, and you're getting so many conflicting reports about what is happening here. How many shots he received, how many shots he did not receive. But before we get into that, I want to say to us, the Quindon Bacchus shooting. The protest action, I know, forced the installed president to hurry up the police complaints authority. You know, protest brings about changes, which is what people sometimes fail to understand. We're not talking about disruptive protest. We're talking about focused protest, where you have people shouting what they want to have happen, their placards highlighting what they want to say in some instances, and they're chanting what they want to see happen. We've noticed that this one here would have caused some actions, but you know what? In my mind, I'm thinking that the actions that were brought about were premature, because here it is, the installed president was saying, by Monday, you're going to have the report. And lo and behold, we had that report long before Monday. Long before Monday, that report came out. And so it was fast-tracked. And then we saw the recommendations coming out of that report. And of course, the DPP concurred with the report that was issued. Gosh. And so officers were placed before the courts. But the story had finished there. Officers were placed before the courts, charged for murder. Some were charged for murder. And some were charged for obstruction. But you know, come on, somebody got to help me solve this riddle, because we're not getting it. I'm sure just the same way I'm not getting it, you're not getting it. We had there Dinobriga charged for murder, McLennan charged for obstruction, Simon charged for obstruction, and they've all been remanded to prison. And it leads one to wonder, what is going to happen now after these men would have been charged? They have been charged, but then you're hearing all kinds of stories coming behind that. And it leads one to wonder whether there's going to be a new investigation, a new action coming from the police complaints authority. With all that is coming to light, somebody got to help us somewhere here, man. Somebody got to help us somewhere. Because with all of these revelations that we're having now, it leaves one to wonder, how can we trust the members of the Guyana Police Force? How can we trust you when you are doing things that is not right? When you're carrying out actions that is totally wrong. And then we had promotion, and more promotion. And I mean, names that have been called for wrongdoings, they have been promoted. And so the cry is now, we want justice for Quindon Bacchus. We want justice for Quindon Bacchus. We also want justice for Shaka Blair. We want justice for Orrin Boston. We want justice for Johansi Douglas. Because I don't think what transpired there, and this is what we're afraid of. What is going to come out of all of these charges that we're hearing? What is going to come out of them? And, you know, this is so embarrassing that the Guyana Police Force has promoted some of its ranks, and all of these people, the name calling in all kinds of stories. The name calling in all kinds of stories. And let me tell you, plenty names calling, you know. Plenty names calling. I can tell you. What? Your name calling, boy. Sunil, your name calling. Ramatar, you name calling too. And then we got Rupalal, whose name is being called too. I ain't know what gonna happen here. We hearing all sorts of stories. We heard that an officer was forced to hand over his service weapon, and that weapon was swiped. And 2 weeks later, the weapon was returned. And then we heard of officers setting up other officers. I just hope that with this setup that we're hearing with McLennan is not a female being at the center of this. And, you know, I'm smiling because we heard about the Quindon Bacchus' issue, that there was a young lady who was at the center of this that would have caused that kind of reaction. But we're going to get more into this. What are we seeing here? What we're seeing here is this an honest investigation that was done by the Police Complaints Authority? Can we honestly trust what came out of this investigation, the report that we have seen? Is this the real report? I don't know. And I'm wondering, and I'm sure many of our viewers are wondering, because the story here, it ain't easy. Old people say, mouth open, story jump out. Lance Corporal charged, a senior officer, an officer who has been promoted to cadet officer, he is being charged. Look, I can join them old people, man. Eager to carry on, crew? Come in. Come in and help us solve this riddle. Come in and help us solve this riddle, because we ain't getting this thing ain't sounding right. Too many mixed up stories. And you know, while we're looking at all of that, we're seeing here now a group of persons are calling for McLennan to be freed. A group of persons are calling for this young man to be freed, because they are saying that this young man was not a part of anything like that. Yes, here is it. They are calling there for him to be freed. They are calling for him to be freed. I don't know what will happen here. I don't know what will happen here. Maybe we'll see a protest action. We'll see some form of protest action coming out here for freeing this young man. But let me tell y'all something. Buxtonians, let me come back to you, Buxtonians. I noticed the president went there, the installed president. I noticed they had ministerial outreaches. But don't forget, let me remind you of how this same PPP regime had criminalized you, how they had bullied you, how they killed many of your villagers, and they victimized you during their 23 years reign. So don't take them for granted. Don't take this nice clothing that they're putting on, which is, you know, the clothing of a sheep over a fox. Don't take them for granted. Whatever they bring to give to you, take it, because it's taxpayers' money paying for it. Take it, but don't take them for granted. Don't believe that they love you, because they don't. Don't believe they love you. And you know, while I would want to go on a little more, I just want to say, shout out to some of our regular suspects, Orek Bentic and London and Jamal Aziz and Riona Cummins and Ishmael Ben. Good night to you, and it's good to have you here. We're seeing you there. Good night, good night, good night. And then we have Marlon there too. Good night to you, Marlon, and it's good to have you on here with us. Without you, we'll have no advancing the cause. So it's good when you come here and you share your comments. But things not regular. Things not regular. I have to say this. Things not regular. Things not regular at all. And you know, we are seeing so many things coming out of this whole Quindon Bacchus's issue. We saw the prosecutor in court saying that the alleged gun that was found on Bacchus, that the gun was not working. Now, this is a big story here, because if this gun not working, how is it that this young man opened fire on the police with a gun that is not working? How is it that he was able to open fire on the police? Somebody tell us, who really lying? Who really lying here to the Guyanese people? I mean, we big and we got sense. If a gun not working, it can't fire. And then, if you remember well, we received 2 sets of statements from the Guyana Police Force. 2 sets of statements. We received one statement earlier which said that Bacchus was acting in a suspicious manner when he saw this police patrol, and the police patrol approached him and he opened fire on them. And when that was refuted, we got another statement saying that it was a sting operation. It was a sting operation. And when the police, I don't know, he was supposed to bring some gun or something, but apparently the sting got hot, and the bite from this sting, or the bite from this sting, yes, the bite from this sting, it probably hit somebody hard, and they said he opened fire on them, which is actually the fact, which is the true story. What are we as a people to believe? What are we supposed to believe? The other thing that we need to find out is who wrote these releases. Who wrote these releases? Because when we put all of these pieces together, I think we might be able to solve the puzzle. We might be able to have that puzzle if we put all of these pieces together, because these things not matching up. And again, let me say, things not regular. Things not regular at all. There are 2 issues, too many issues that are not adding up. And we have to examine. One of the things that we have to do is, I'm not no attorney, but I think one of the things that we have to do, and I'm not a police officer by any chance, but one of the things I think we really have to do is to examine the charges that were laid. Examine the charges that were laid. I'm not so sure that the charges that were laid were correctly laid. But I think what they're trying to do is to appease us, is to appease the family, is to appease other villagers, is to appease other citizens by saying, look, we would have laid charges, we passed them through court. But this is not the end of the story. Just passing persons through court is not the end of the story. We must find out who was the young man in the red t-shirt. Who were the young men that were chasing after Bacchus? We must find that out. Those people must be able to say to us Who were the officers there with them? And those persons must be pulled in, because we're getting this whole play out here that some persons are being pulled over the coals and other persons are not being pulled over the coals. The other thing is, look how quickly we got this report, but we're still waiting to hear about Orin Boston. We're still waiting to hear about that. When are we going to hear what was the reason for shooting Orin Boston to death? Now, we're hearing that Quindon had a gun and he opened fire, which we know is not the truth, because all of the camera footages that we've seen there, they've said differently. They've said something totally different. But Orin Boston was asleep. He was in his bed and he was shot and killed. So up to now, we can't hear who is the police officer that shot him, if that police officer is going to be brought before the courts, whether the police complaints authority is looking into it. We want answers, people. We want answers. And I want to remind us, I want to remind the installed regime and their followers there that fraud is fraud. A crime is a crime. And when you commit a crime, you must be willing to face the consequences of your actions. Don't come here to tell people nonsense, because we're not going to buy it. And like we said, this must be the last young man that has been murdered by police. This young man must be the last young man to have been murdered by police in this manner. This young man posed no threat. And you know what is disgusting is the fact that if you check all the police stations along the East Coast corridor,
to cover up the truth.
You wouldn't
Semple's
find
attorney Everton Lammy told the court that his client was threatened by senior ranks of the Special Branch Unit of the Guyana Police Force not to disclose certain information about the shooting death that is based on ballistics tests. The gun that the police claimed Bacchus used to open fire on them was not in any working condition. The murder accused Christophe Denobrega was remanded to jail, and the matter has been transferred to the Coleman John Magistrates Court, where it will next be heard on the 19th of July.
Now,
Two other policemen, Lance Corporal Thurston Simon and Sergeant Damien McClellan, were charged with attempting to obstruct the course of justice and conduct prejudicial to good order and discipline. This was explained to the court on the 10th day of June at Haslington on the east coast of the Marara. Quinton Bacchus was shot dead by Denobrega. The court was told that Denobrega opened fire on Bacchus, hitting him 7 times in the body. A post-mortem examination revealed that Bacchus received 5 of those shots to his back. The police had originally claimed that Bacchus by Denobrega. The court was told that Denobrega opened fire on Bacchus, hitting him 7 times in the body. A post-mortem examination revealed that Bacchus, during his appearance, was explained to the court that on the 10th day of June at Haslington on the east coast of the Marara, Quinton Bacchus was shot dead by Denobrega. The court was told that Denobrega opened fire on Bacchus, hitting him 7 times in the body. A post-mortem examination revealed that Bacchus received 5 of those shots to his back. The police had originally claimed that Bacchus had opened fire on the police. But in court today, the prosecutor in the matter said that there was no evidence that Bacchus ever opened fire on the police. The prosecutor also said that based on ballistics tests, that the gun that the police claimed that Bacchus used
we cannot do that. And I want, if the
the
operator
death
could show us
of Quinton
that gun
Bacchus.
that they
The
talked
prosecutor
about.
to
If you
open
can
fire
just show
on
that
them
gun to
was
us,
not in anywhere in the
that gun
police.
that they
The
said,
prosecutor
was
also
used
said
with
that
the
based
young
on
man had a
ballistics
gun and he
tests,
opened fire.
that the
This is
gun
the
that the
same
police
gun
claimed said that there was no ever open
that
fire on the police.
prosecutor who stood
The
there, mind you, the prosecutor is representing the state. The prosecutor is representing the state, and the prosecutor is saying that the gun was not working. So how this gun firing? And all of these unanswered questions are the questions that citizens of this country will continue to pose. Right-minded citizens will continue to pose these questions. They're going to continue to ask these questions, and we must have answers for these. Who are the police officers? Who ordered you here? Like I said, things in
Prosecutor
regular.
also
Because
said
we're
that
hearing
based on
another part of the
ballistic,
story
disputed his
that
statements
some police
and points to
officer
his weapon being fired.
ordered
The
this sting
prosecutor objected,
operation. I don't know what was the
who
reason
said
for
that
that.
based on the post-mortem
When
examination,
other senior
the
officers
jail
were
until
saying
the
they
12th
knew
of
nothing
July,
about it,
when his matter will be called
why
again.
did we have
All
this
of the
sting
appearances were
operation?
done virtually
Why
today,
couldn't we
but there was no
have
explanation
collected this
given for the
man,
virtual appearance.
put
But
him in
additional security
custody,
measures
and
had been
find
set
out
up
from him
around the
who
magistrate's
are the
court in
persons
preparation
that he
for the
is working
appearance by the
for,
men. The
and
tent of gun that
how
the
many
police claimed
persons
the
he would have
Bacchus used.
served guns to, and then we go after them. Because you kill Quindon Bacchus, but there might be somebody else who's selling guns, according to you, who that supply might be supplying guns to so that they can sell. What is going on? We got to find the answers. We got to find the answers. Things ain't regular. Things ain't regular. And so we're going to continue to cry, justice for Quindon Bacchus. Justice for Quindon Bacchus. We're going to continue to cry that until we get to the bottom of this. Persons must be held accountable for their actions. Rogue policemen, we must get rid of them.
And Sergeant Damien McClellan were charged with attempting to obstruct the course of justice and conduct prejudicial to good order and discipline. In the case of Lance Corporal Simon, the court was told that he attempted to pervert the course of justice by providing false statements about the shooting death of Bacchus. The court heard that Simon was part of the police team in the Haslington community that was part of the undercover operation. The prosecutor said he provided two inconsistent statements during the probe of the shooting death, and those statements were meant to cover up the truth. Semple's attorney, Everton Lammy, told the court that his client was threatened by senior ranks of the Special Branch Unit of the Guyana Police Force not to disclose certain information about the shooting death, and he complied with the instructions. The prosecutor objected to bail, and bail was refused. Lance Corporal Simon was remanded to jail until the 12th of July for the continued. Quindon Bacchus was shot dead by Denard Gun. The court was told that Denard Gun opened fire on Bacchus, hitting him 7 times to the body. A post-mortem at Haslington on the East Coast during his appearance was explained to the Quindon Bacchus was shot on the East Coast.
Look how many persons you're seeing there. A red t-shirt, yes. You're seeing somebody else there, and that's Quindon Bacchus way out in front there, and you have 3 men running behind him. Are we saying that the 3 men
Quindon Bacchus was shot dead by Denard Gun?
Are those the 3 men? The Guyana Police Force.
His appearance was explained to the 10th day of June. Quindon Bacchus was shot dead at Haslington on the East Coast of
look how irresponsible these people are. You have children going home from school, and here is it, you're firing shots left, right, and center.
The court was told that the Denard opened fire and I did not break out. The court was told that the Denard opened shot dead at the Marara at Haslington on the East 10th day of June at Haslington on the East Coast.
This is wrong, and we have to condemn it in the strongest of terms. We have to condemn it. It's totally wrong.
The Marara, Quindon Bacchus was shot dead by Denard The court was told that the Denard opened fire on Bacchus, hitting him 7 times to the body.
And we're going right back there. No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We are going to speak out about these issues.
But in court today, the prosecutor in the matter said that there was no evidence that Bacchus ever opened fire on the police. The prosecutor also said that based on ballistics tests, the gun that the police claimed Bacchus used to open fire on them was not in any working condition. The murder accused Christophe Denard was remanded to jail, and the matter has been transferred to the Coleman John Magistrates Court, where it will next be heard on the 19th of July. 2 other policemen, Lance Corporal Thurston Simon and Sergeant Damien McClellan, were charged with attempting to obstruct the course of justice and conduct prejudicial to good order and discipline. In the case of Lance Corporal Simon, the court was told that he attempted to pervert the course of justice by providing false statements about the shooting death of Bacchus. The court heard that Simon was part of the police team in the Haslington community that was part of the undercover operation. The prosecutor said he provided provided two inconsistent statements during the probe of the shooting death, and those statements were meant to cover up the truth. Semple's attorney, Everton Lammy, told the court that his client was threatened by senior ranks of the Special Branch Unit of the Guyana Police Force.
Over 30 in Chicago. You know what? He was not shot and killed by the police, They've captured him. But he was not shot and killed by the police. Why is it that the Guyana Police Force feel, the members within the Guyana Police Force feel that they're above the law and they have made life so they can take life whenever they feel like? We will not continue to have these kinds of things happening. These are the days when we have phones and we have access to WhatsApp. We have access to having data on our phones where we can stand up and film and share, and we're going to do that because we are not going to accept what transpired 23 years ago prior to 2015. It will not continue to happen. And so to the parents of Quindon Bacchus and his relatives and the residents of that village, we extend again to you our sincere condolences. And we want to say to you that we will continue to support you at this time. We are going to continue to give you our support because an end must be brought to this. An end must be brought to this. Here is it, we have a little child, 3 years old.
First thing they have, they say they have 18 witnesses.
And he's going to be told that police shot and killed your father because of a flimsy misunderstanding. These things are not right. And we will not accept them. Too many young men we've lost. Too many of our young men we have lost. And we are not going to accept losing our young men again. And as we move off from the Quindon Bacchus' issue, we move to this whole issue of the promotions within the Guyana Police Force. I don't know. This installed regime are the people who talk about democracy and transparency and all the C's they're talking about. But here is it, we're seeing them operating and all the C's are missing. All the C's are missing. The Constitution speaks to the composition of that commission. The Constitution speaks to it. The Constitution is clear that for that commission to be complete, you must have the chairman of the Public Service Commission as a member of that commission. But we don't have a Public Service Commission in place. But yet we have seen Police Service Commission in action. The chairman of the Police Service Commission on Friday said he did not receive a list. But lo and behold, on Saturday, as a matter of fact, a list was presented and accepted. What are we really doing? This is an embarrassment not only to us as a people, but this is an embarrassment to this country, and this is an embarrassment when we look at our folks in the Caribbean. I guess they're laughing at us. We don't have a Public Service Commission. We don't have a member of the Public Service Commission on the Police Service Commission. But here is it, we have police promotions. We have police officers being promoted. And look at some of them. I mean, do we just decide to promote people just like that? I can say to you that we are still, let me say this, we are still awaiting the swearing in of the members of the Teaching Service Commission. Teachers are languishing. They are suffering because they're acting. And we don't want to go back to those days prior to 2015 when we had teachers acting as head teacher, this person acting as deputy, this person acting as HOD, performing duties as we must stop that. Guyana has gone, we've come so far, and it seems as if the steps we've made forward, we are making many, many more backward. Here is it again. We're seeing promotions for police officers. What happened to the files? Anybody took time off to look at those files? To see if there were infractions? To see if there were disciplinary actions taken against persons and preventing them from being promoted for a year, debarring them from promotions? This overnight thing is not going to work. It's not going to work. We're not going to accept these overnight happenings. And that is why we have people behaving anyhow. Again, things not regular. Things not regular. We have a commission that is incomplete, but we're having promotions being done. Mr. Installed President, you profess to be a man of the people. But we have seen in all your actions so far that you are only a man or president for some set of people. Fraud is fraud. What is not right is not right. And you as president, yes, you're installed, but as president, you should accept what is right. You should ask questions. You shouldn't collect things wholesale, or maybe it's what you're accustomed to be doing. So you don't understand the operations or the functions of the office you hold. If you don't, you can ask for help. Stop listening to some of the people you have behind you, because you're already there by default. And what they're doing, at the end of the day, you are accountable to the people of Guyana because you are the installed president. You're the man sitting in the seat. We've got to change this thing. We've got to change it. And yes, like Fitz is saying, dictatorship in full swing. And these are the very people who keep talking about democracy. Democracy. But all they're setting out to do is to dictate the pace of the day. Whether it's right, it's not so right, they are dictating the pace and they're calling wrong things right. And we're going to have to, yes, we're going to have to speak out against these. We have to speak out against these things that are happening, because wrong can't be right. Wrong could never be right. And I want to encourage you, our Guyanese citizens, to speak out when these issues are happening. Speak out when these issues are happening, because today might be Bacchus's family day, but tomorrow your very son could be a victim. Your neighbor's son, your nephew, your niece could very well be another victim. Things not regular. Yes, I'm hearing my folks saying boots on the ground. And so, folks, we are going to bind ourselves together, because what has happened at Haslington happened in Buxton. It happened in Golden Grove. It happened in Pleasance. It happened in Linden. It happened in so many, many other areas. And so we have got to come out and speak out about these things. And you know, when we come to speak about these things, you hear, oh, they're thugs. Oh, they are this. Oh, they are that. But the installed president don't remember when he was part of the protest when they attempted to overturn the then Minister of Foreign Affairs, Karen Cummins's vehicle. When they blocked then Minister David Patterson from entering the Pegasus. They don't remember these things. They don't remember who are thugs and who are hooligans. They don't remember when they stormed and created havoc in that room when the then President Granger was about to address the gathering. They don't remember those things. They don't remember those things. Yes, I'm happy that the operator is bringing it up there. They were all part of the grouping. He was part of that grouping. And you know what? The police then, they were not ordered to shoot. They weren't given any directive to shoot. But here, when the coin flip, you're getting police shooting live bullets at people. They're shooting them with tear gas. They're going into their village late at night and terrorizing them. The installed president, he didn't understand then what it was. He didn't know that that was terrorism, but he understands now what is terrorism. And then he has the audacity. He has the audacity to call a man like Dr. Hines, David Hines, a joker. You know, operator, let's have that video going there. And if you look carefully, you're going to see some of the regular suspects. Look, you're seeing Nadir, who's sitting now as the Speaker of the National Assembly. Look, you got Charles Ramson there, who's now a minister. You know, all these people get paid back for what they've been doing. We want to see the others. Look at them. You see the vehicle there? Look the vehicle. If you look good, you're going to see the vehicle in the middle there. You're going to see the vehicle there. I think that was Minister Cummins in that vehicle. And they did not want her, they were blocking her path. I think that is, if not her vehicle, that was Minister Patterson's vehicle. He had to step out from his vehicle and walk. Minister Cummins was scared, so she stayed in her vehicle and they attempted to overturn that vehicle. These are the people who want to talk about democracy. These are the people who want to call people hooligans and all kinds of names now. But when the shoes were on the other side, they were very peaceful protesters. They were doing what was right for them to do. You know, I tell you, these people are malicious. Look, you see, they're blocking all the people who are supposed to be going in there. Look at them. Look, you see Kwame there. Look there. You know, these people are malicious. Wrong cannot be right when it's wrong. When something is wrong, we must say it's wrong. When something is right, we must say it is right. And we've got to call all of these people out. Every time we've got to call them out. Every single time. Look them walking behind the vehicle. Every single time we have to call them out. And you notice how peacefully they're walking? No police officers shooting at them. No police officers is pushing them back. But we saw them doing that to the people when the people were having their peaceful march. More than that, we saw their rogue elements in the group there. We saw them, look them in front of David Patterson there. Look at them. You notice? Look at them. Look at them in front of David Patterson. You see how these people are malicious? Look at them. Look at them, how they're malicious. I tell you what. I'm hoping viewers, those who are here with us, those who are viewing from overseas, that you're seeing what these people have done. You're seeing who are the rogue people. You're seeing the people who are the thugs. And then they want to come now to preach to us, to tell us about democracy. They want to tell us now about what should be done and what should not be done. You notice the police officer backing him off there, but he wasn't using any gun. He wasn't using any gun. These are the people who feel that they can do what they want to do. These are the people who feel that they can do what they want to do. But while things are irregular, we will not stand idly by and allow these people to run rough shadow over us. Our eyes are open and we are going to see, we are going to say when things are wrong. Look the installed president. Look him in the midst there. Look him in the midst there, you know? Look him in the midst there. Look him in the midst there. These are the people. These are the people who talk about transparency and democracy. This is the democracy that they're talking about. But when it's other person's turn to speak out and have their voices heard, you want to call them thugs and clowns and jokers and all sorts of names. But Guyanese people, we will not forget. We will continue to remember the struggle that we would have had 23 years ago, prior to 2015. We will remember that. We will continue to remember how some of our brothers were treated, how many of our young brothers were killed innocently. We will continue to remember the hardship that many of us went through during the last 23 years, and we are going to stand up for them. Finally, I want to say to us that today marks 58 years since the Son Chapman vessel was blown up. Operatives were being told of the PPP that happened in 1964. Operatives of the PPP were behind that. 40 lives were lost then. And so the people of Linden will continue to remember that. You know, you talk about Linden and you're trying to win the people of Linden and to get their votes. They will never forget you for that. Never forget you for that. They are going to remember that sad day in Linden when persons were waiting for their families to come home. And this was what greeted them in the Demerara River. The people of Linden will never forget this. And they will hold the PPP for what they would have done to their people. Operative, you can give us just a little bit of what transpired there today. There was a commemoration march in Linden, right by the riverside there, commemorating 58 years since that tragedy took place. We have many families who remember that just as if it were yesterday. Many sons and daughters lost their fathers in that tragedy. Many wives lost their husbands, and uncles, and grandfathers, and brothers. And so we see the Lindeners, who are a proud set of people, having their activity to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Son Chapman tragedy. Thank you, operator. Let me remind us all that we will not sit idly by. We are going to speak, and we will speak out loud. We will continue to call wrongdoings, and we are going to keep a close eye on this Quindon Bacchus case. We're going to keep a close eye on it. Things not regular. Too much in the pot. Was McLennan involved? Was he not involved? The gun not working. Was it a case of a woman that caused the issue and caused the young man to lose his life? Or was it a sting operation? Things not regular. Promotions. Was this legal? No, it was not legal. So things not regular. My viewers, I want to thank you for being here with us. I want to thank you for always tuning into Advancing the Cause, because we give you what is live, what is the truth. We don't have to cover up anything. And let me say to you, when they come to your villages, ask them the hard questions. Don't let them come to you with hampers, because we're not a hamper nation. Ask them for development for your community. Let them come and fix the roads, and don't let them come to you with promises. And let us keep in our minds that Quindon Bacchus must be the last young man. The last young man. And this here doesn't have race in it. This is about a young 23-year-old man who lost his life senselessly because of rogue police officers. And if the operator can bring this one up, we saw innocent people there being shot at. A little schoolboy, his mother. These people are being young minds that were terrorized by the actions, the irresponsible actions of the Guyana Police Force. I tell y'all again, things not regular. You notice our COVID numbers are going up and up and up, but we're not hearing anything, you know. We're not hearing anything about it because they don't want you to know what is happening. So they're keeping those numbers undercover. But let me remind us and let me warn you, wear your mask when you have to be out. Sanitize as often as possible. Stay away from huge crowds. And if you have to be in huge crowds, like if we're going to have a protest action, ensure that you wear your mask and that you have your sanitizers there with you. This is all for now on Advancing the Cause for this week. Remember, we have a duty to perform. We have a duty to perform. And we are going to continue to perform that duty as responsible citizens. And before I close, I want to say shout out to Lorraine and Eula Williams and Sheldon Wickham and Mr. Original Black. Shout out to you and thank you for watching Advancing the Cause. That's all for now until we see you again next week. Keep your ears on the ground. Keep your eyes out. Be alert because things are regular. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching our program. See you right back here, same place, same time. And remember, hold the line of battle, comrades. Our victory is sure.